We had a friend, Ed Calibrito. He used to come to Justified Violence practices. So Bobby wanted to start a band with Ed. So we started The Elite. He asked me to play drums. And we got Dan Miellie to sing. But Ed didn't know how to play an instrument. I mean, none of us were really too good at our instruments, but Ed couldn't play anything. So they gave him the bass. What else are you going to give the guy that can't play anything, right?
Although unfortunately he didn't pick it up as quickly as Pete did. Pete was our original first choice, but Pete burned us, so we had to find somebody else. So we started doing that. We played a few shows. Ron was playing in another band, and so we used to play shows with them.
What happened is Justified Violence split in half, and the two halves went either way. One was The Elite, and then Twisted Cross, which was me, Pete Casano, Scott Reid, and Mike Dietz.
A lot of angel dust, a lot of violence.
You know, it was Mike Dietz was in it, so you know it wasn't going to be like a normal band, or at least you knew they were going to be violent and hard and stuff.
We used to get out of hand. We used to, I remember one time they wouldn't pay us. We were trying to, smash in the windows, wrecking the bar, all that shit.
The place got wrecked, and we were not invited back there to play, so then we just ran out of places to play.
I don't even remember how long they played, but I don't think it was that long. We played a few shows with them, and I think that was kind of it, but they were awesome.
One time, The Elite, it might have even been the first time I saw them, they played at, there was a place, it was like a hippie youth center kind of thing called SERAYNA, and a bunch of bands played. I think it was like Joe Kollar and Dave, they had a band called the Intellectuals, like they played. Actually, that show was also, I think it might have been like the last time I saw Dan Miellie before he died.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dan was killed in an accident, and that was tough.
The Elite had, it had a lot of good things going for them. It had Bobby on guitar and Jim on drums, which is, they're like, fucking Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, Paul McCartney and John Lennon. When them two get together, they just know how to write, songs. So they were in there, and then they started out with Dan Miellie, who was, I don't know, he was, like a crazy little super genius guy, But his life ended short. But then they took on Mike Dietz, and he started singing, and it worked. It worked real well.
Then we started playing with me and Jim and Dave and Mike singing.
We were a quote-unquote skinhead band, even though we weren't too heavily into, following any kind of skinhead conduct.
What's a skinhead? To me, it's just, it's not, you're not a Nazi, like that. It's just, you're hardcore, man.
We played for a while, we recorded, a tape, and played a bunch of shows, and, but Dave is, what's a good word to describe Dave? Flighty.
Dave got a little weird and quit. We were on NYU, we had to play live on NYU one night. Dave wouldn't do it. I guess he was just sick of me and Mike, into drugs and getting arrested all the time, and I think he just was done with it.
Dave Deluca quit The Elite because I think he got a little scared because of my behavior. He was having guns on me, 9mm, and tons of drugs. My behavior was ridiculous. I was probably one of the biggest drug dealers in New York. And I was pretty much thinking that I was invincible because I had so much money and so much power in that form, you know what I mean? That not just Dave, I think everybody was getting a little nervous, just being around me.
Not sure why I left. Just wasn't happening at that time.
So we asked Joe Kollar from Intellectuals at the time. He played guitar for them, so we said, can you play bass? He said, yeah.
I don't even know if anybody even asked Joe to play bass. I think that Mike just walked over to him one day and said, "Yeah, you're playing bass. We'll see you at the show on Sunday." And Joe just said, "Okay."
I had joined the Elite, I guess my last year of high school, so maybe it was 88, 89. But played with the Elite for about a year or so, and they were a great band. We never got through a full show with the Elite because whenever they would play, there was just chaos, outright violence, just people killing each other. Needless to say, most clubs don't want them.
That whole era was a blur to me. The one thing I remember about that era is one night after practice, I asked Joe to drive me home, and I had a pocket full of drugs. And he saw it and he wouldn't drive me home. That's the one thing I remember. I was pissed off.
The Elite broke up because I got arrested. You know, the inevitable happened. They arrested me. The bail was $1 million. In other words, they didn't want me getting bailed out. You know, so I was finished. I had to do 5 years. I went upstate and did my time.